Now, let's quickly look at one exciting area that many Nigerians are very apprehensive about, and that's the issue of the Arms Trade Treaty, which President Goodluck Jonathan recently ratified at the last UN General Assembly. There seems to be so many more to this ratification in terms of its impact on Nigeria's existence as a nation.
You see, we would not only ratify the Arms Trade Treaty. President Goodluck Jonathan is the salesman of the Arms Trade Treaty. Remember in September, during the United Nations General Assembly, when he took the floor, he made a statement that captured the consciousness of the world. That in Africa, our weapons of mass destruction are small arms and light weapons that move freely across our borders and are constituting serious security threats. All the conflicts in Africa are being executed by small arms and light weapons that are not manufactured in Africa. So he called for a more transparency in the trade of small arms and light weapons. And that goes to the Arms Trade Treaty, which we are now selling for all countries to ratify. As we are talking to you now, a lot of countries have ratified the treaty. Some have not. And Mr. President uses every opportunity he gets to say, hey, guys, come and ratify this treaty. These are weapons of mass destruction. The guy who fires the AK-47 somewhere in Burundi got it from somewhere. If there were transparency in the way these arms are traded by the big guys, then we will have less and less of these trades available to cause havoc in our continent. Recently in Paris, where Mr. President attended the Elysee Palace Summit on Security in Africa, that was his message, which was well received. In fact, he requested the French president, who was our host and the convener, and the United Nations Secretary General who were there, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, to take that message and work towards achieving it if we're not going to take anything out of Paris, the summit. That in Africa, the greatest threat to peace and security is the availability of small arms and light weapons that move freely across our borders, wreaking havoc and constituting itself as a weapon of mass destruction.
Now, recently, the United States government labeled the northern insurgents group, popularly called the Boko Haram, as a terrorist group. What implication has this for Nigeria's peace and security architecture?
Mr. Shuru, let me quote an impression first. The United States government did not prescribe any northern insurgent group. It prescribed Boko Haram, operating from the northeast. And with this state of emergency that was recently extended by Mr. President, operating from 2 states of the northeast, Maiduguri and Yobe. And even in these 2 states, not in their traditional way of operating, the city guerrilla warfare or suicide bombers, assassinations of ideological dissidents and so on. It came at the right time, in fact, when Nigeria itself, on the federal government itself, had proscribed Boko Haram as a terrorist organization with all the associated legal privileges given to the government on going after it. Nigeria and the United States, of course, are partners in so many ways. First, our shared values in democracy, rule of law, good governance, and human rights, and our common desire to fight terrorism anywhere in the globe. In that sense, Nigeria welcomes the description of Boko Haram a foreign terrorist organization by the United States government, because we believe and we know that that will in no way affect any law-abiding Nigerian conducting his business either in Nigeria or in the United States or anywhere in the world. Rather, to further aggregate the efforts of the two governments in going this after very ruthless and very ruthless and awful, organization that feeds on a murder, cold-blooded murder for that matter, drug dealings, and trafficking in arms. So the government welcome the description, the designation, because it is coming just after we have proscribed Boko Haram ourselves as terrorist organization.
Dr. Nordin Mohammed, it's been an exciting moment having you bear a lot of classified information, if you permit me to say that, about Nigeria's foreign policy and also about Nigeria's reactions to international development. Thank you very much indeed for being a part of this edition of Network Africa. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you, Mr. Asher.
Well, that's as much as we can take in this edition of Network Africa. If you've any comments, please send it to networkafrica@channelstv.com. And here's the Twitter handle on your screen. So join us same time next week for another fresh and exciting edition of Network Africa. I'm Benga Ashiru. Season's greetings and goodbye.
A time comes in the life of every race when people are driven by echoes of the past to chart a course for an exalted future. Africa is a place treasured, as major actors in the Africa arena plots a renaissance towards common destiny. Let's pedal across the streams of yesterday, through the backstreets of Africa to the defining roles of policymakers, the political realities of the African nation, balance of power, and the strive to sustain national interest and identity. Join us on Network Africa on Channels Television. Network Africa, the rallying point for